the American Horticultural Society presents its November 1st, 2021 press conference, announcing that River Farm is no longer for sale and will retain its headquarters at historic River Farm. Also during the press conference, AHS announced a generous donation from Klaus and Marcia Zack and the appointment of Keith P. Tomlinson as its new director.
To the dress Atlanta, where I was the fashion coordinator. I want to tell you that I said yes to River Farm probably 5 years ago, it's been. And, I look back upon this incredibly beautiful property, and it comes to mind an incredible quote from Audrey Hepburn. And she said, "To plant a garden is to believe in tomorrow." And I think that is so true with what we have here. I have celebrated many occasions here at River Farm, and each time I am taken aback by the wonder, the splendor, the beauty, the history of River Farm. And I hear we're almost at our 50th anniversary here on this property, correct? 100 for the society. But can you imagine standing 50 years? Well, if I look back, that means I graduated from high school 50 years ago as too, so we coincide. So it's going to be a big celebration all the way around. So I'm going to keep it short and sweet. We have a tight agenda today. We're going to try to keep on schedule, and if I stand up here and talk any longer, you'll not. But if you have an opportunity and you have not, please share this incredible property with families and friends. Walk about these grounds where history has been made and continues to be made with our presence and our ability to save this incredible property. So my best wishes to everyone here, and I want to personally thank every single one of our board members, the staff here that has kept this up and running, and the dignity of this property. Thank you so very much. I'm going to turn this over to Tim. Where'd he go?
Right here.
Oh, there you are. Get up here. We're going to turn that up. Yeah, thank you.
My name is Tim Conlon, and I am one of the very fortunate board members of AHS. To be standing here today, something that we board members who are here always believed we would be doing. River Farm is a place of new beginnings. It was not only George Washington's estate, but it was also where Alexander Hamilton reconstituted our Constitution right here on this property. And it was the new beginning for our country, and this will be the new beginning for American Horticultural Society. Let's start the day with some acknowledgments. All of you are here because you have supported us throughout the last year and a half in our efforts to maintain headquarters for AHS here at River Farm. And all of you have had different levels of support. The first person I really want to acknowledge is Keister Evans, who was the former AHS director, who was here when Enid House donated the $1 million so that this River Farm could become headquarters for AHS. I would also like to thank the community, especially the neighbors. Catherine Ward has been diligent and been a carrier and wouldn't let go. And thank you very much, Catherine, for you and for helping orchestrate all the neighbors in the effort to be here today. And then the public officials, the Attorney General Carl Racine and his staff. I don't know if either one of them are here, but Tabitha Bartholomew worked with us very closely. The Attorney General Mark Herring, Virginia Governor Ralph Northam, the Virginia Conservation Delegation, including Representative Don Beyer, Supervisor Dan Stork, who is here today, Chairman Jeff Mckay, Senator Scott Stormo, Delegates Adam Evan and Paul Krizik are here today. Northern Virginia Conservation Trust Directors, Save River Farm Organization, Alan Rosum, Nova Parks Director Paul Gilbert, and the Nova Parks Chairman, Kate Wyatt. Gilbert Foundation, of course, Preservation Virginia, and many others, including members of the press who helped raise public awareness for what we were trying to do here for River Farm. Thank you all for being here. It's a pleasure to be here myself. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Holly Shimizu, and I am a board member here at the American Horticultural Society. And today is a real celebration. We have so much to celebrate. This place is unbelievable to me. It doesn't get more beautiful than this. And I have always felt that way about River Farm, and it's a visceral experience to be here. So we celebrate that, we thank you all, and we also celebrate the appointment of a new director for the American Horticultural Society, Keith P. Tomlinson, who loves River Farm. When he came here and he said, "This place is amazing," I'm thinking, okay, he's getting very close to getting this job. But he has the knowledge and skills we need. He has a very rich background. He served as botanical garden manager of Meadowlark Gardens, part of the Northern Virginia parks, and he did amazing work there, amazing work over the years. I've known him on and off over the years. We share a love of conservation, of sustainable gardening, which he's been dedicated to. He's even taught and developed classes in it. He's a great writer, a great people person, a fabulous communicator. He worked with the National Science Foundation, developing programs. He has deep knowledge of science and interpretation and skills. I don't really want to go on. What I want to say is we could have looked far and wide for a great director, and we ended up finding this great person right here in Northern Virginia. Welcome, Keith. We'll hear from Keith at the end, towards the end of our ceremony today.
Hello, I'm Marcia Zack. I'm a board member. I've been a board member since I think about 2011. I love this place, even though I'm on the other side of the country. I live in the Seattle area, but I feel really blessed to be able to come here, and it was so wonderful to drive in today and see how gorgeous it is. I know that the volunteers are working hard to tend it and to refresh it and do weeding and things that needed to be done over the last year, but it's still wonderful. The bones are there for us all. I think it's one of the things that's really special about this is that it's an open space, and that River Farm and the AHS has managed to keep it as an open space for the last 50 years, and I think it's to be congratulated for doing that. We do intend to keep this magical spot as an open space, and it's going to be a challenge. We all know that. It needs some loving care. This last year has shown us how many people love this place, and I want to say thank you to all our neighbors, our friends, our donors, our members, but particularly to the staff who were here and kept us going and moving through all this. This was not easy for them. They were on the ground. They heard all the complaints. They got all the emails. They forwarded them to us. And all I can say is thank you. You all went above and beyond. But now we're moving towards a brighter future. We are pivoting to this future. Our great volunteers are returning to River Farm and committing their time, energy, and gardening prowess to the restoration of this estate. We are celebrating today our new director, Keith Tomlinson, and I just met him today for the first time, and I am so excited that he's here. He brings a wealth of experience to us that we can really use. I don't know if any of you have checked out I'm a development chair, I don't know if any of you have checked out our website and the online auction that just started last week, but there's some opportunities there that really speak volumes about how we feel about this space. Of course, to make donations to the American Horticultural Society, but also to be able to buy a specimen plant that we'd like to bring onto the property, to support an intern program for horticultural students that specialize in outdoor education. And also, I think we have bird feeders there for those who like the birds. We'd like to put up a few bird feeders here and support wildlife here. These are really exciting and pivotal times for our society as we build a bridge to our future together. But we will need help. We have lots of work ahead of us, but who's afraid of work, really? That only makes us stronger. We will need financial help in the coming year. We'll be crafting a capital campaign to build a bridge to our next 100 years. These efforts take a lot of time and thought. And even though it may seem quiet to you, we're working. There are lots of things that we have to do behind the scenes. And we're already starting. There's so much to do, it's kind of hard to figure out where to start. So we're trying to be very careful and figure out our priorities. We don't want this to happen again. But the fact that we are ready to go into the future is one of the reasons, I'm sorry, Klaus and I have made, I don't know why I'm getting choked up. We have decided to make a gift of, pardon?
We feel the same way.
We've decided to make a gift of $1 million to the American Horticultural Society. This is just the start, and it's to lead the way, and we hope that other people will join us, that it's a challenge to the rest of you to join us and make this property everything that it can be, still available to the public, but to take us into the future and secure both the American Horticultural Society and River Farm as its shining jewel in their crown. Thank you.
Well, that's a real easy act to follow. And this is surprising, and I'm glad you're all seated because we're opening! Yes! And I'd like the volunteers and the staff to please stand because I want to say thank you. You guys are phenomenal. Please stand. AHS? Yes, yes, yes!
Good morning, everyone. I'm Laura Dowling. I'm a member of the board, and I just want to say a few words and reiterate my thanks to everyone here. I mean, this is a real triumph for the community, for the preservation, historical preservation community, the conservation, for conservation communities, so really the general public and for the future. We are just thrilled to be able to stand there and be here today with all of you. And I feel like this is a victory because we were all working together. To make sure that River Farm would be open to the public and be protected in perpetuity. That's so important. And as you know, we were a divided board, a deadlock board, 5-5 for so long, and it was really touch and go for a while. I'm sure all of you were worried too. We were just one vote away from it going in a very different direction. But I feel like my message today is that we haven't completely won the battle yet, right? We still have so much work to do. We have to repair the damage that occurred over the past year to our reputation. The mass resignations of the board put the organization in a little bit of chaos, and so now our goal is to stabilize things, get back on track. You know, there are probably people who hope that we won't make it. They're looking at us now, but we are putting the plans and strategies in place to go forward for a really strong future. So our pledge to you is that we want to work with all of you. We don't want to repeat the fiasco of the past year. We're moving quickly to put the governing structures in place, the long-term conservation protections in place. And we really want to ensure that River Farm is protected from development forever. We also pledge to listen to our members and our stakeholders. We're so delighted that we have public officials here today. We're going to be hearing from them in a minute. But we want to hear everyone's ideas for how we can be better stewards of River Farm and for AHS. So the call to action on our 100th anniversary is that we had a near-death experience. That's how I think we all feel about it. And River Farm almost became the cornerstone of a mega development. I mean, can you imagine that when you look out here today? So it proves the point that these kinds of priceless assets are fragile, need to be protected, need to be stewarded. And so it's imperative that we keep working together to ensure that. Because at the end of the day, I think we always knew we could always count on you. We were working internally inside the board, but we knew that there were so many of you on the outside and relentless in showing your support for the place and really the commitment. And I think together that brought us through. So we all look forward to working with you going forward. And thank you so much. Now I'd like to turn things over and have the public officials here today say a few words, their perspective, and starting with Chairman Mckay, if you'd like to step up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. Let me start as I start every event, which is let's give a round of applause first to our frontline healthcare workers who allow us to be able to gather safely as a community for events like this, right? We are very proud in Fairfax County to have well over 80% vaccination rate, which I think speaks volumes to the quality of our community and the people who live in it who care about fragile, vulnerable things like River Farm, as an example. And so I'm glad to be here. I'm personally attached to this property, having grown up not far from here. Many family events and memories that happened right here on this property. So it's emotional for me personally. But also I can tell you that this property has countywide significance, certainly regional significance, nationwide significance. So while this is in the Mount Vernon district in Fairfax County, preserving this property is important to every single person who lives in Fairfax County in our region. And so I was so pleased to work closely with Supervisor Stork, who led the charge as the Mount Vernon district supervisor at the county level, to make sure that we did everything we could, used every tool in our toolbox as quickly and as effectively as we could to put together the best strategies to help do our part to save this property. And I do want to thank our phenomenal county staff as well in the Planning and Zoning Department who worked with us to set up the historic overlay districts and so many of the other things that we were able to do at the county level with great speed, great integrity, great intelligence, and to have played a role in getting here today. And so I'm so proud of them. Thank you. So proud of this community for coming together. And as we know, while there is still work to be done moving ahead, the first and most important thing was to save the property from development so that we could take a deep breath and now focus on the future of it without the threat of it being taken away. And that really is a testament to everyone who's here who played a role in doing that. And I can tell you that the county will be there every step of the way as we move forward to continue to help and assist this amazing property remain open to the public, protected from development, not only so important for our people, but important for the environment, the climate, and so many other things as well. This is a treasure in Fairfax County, and we always want it to be that way. So thank you all for everything you did to help us get to this point today. And congratulations.
Senator Surabel, if you want to step up and say a few words. I know you have to get back on the campaign trail.
Thanks, Laura. So happy to be here today. I was worried for a while, but we persevered, and
so excited I was able to be here. You know, my grandparents back in 1940 partnered with 19 other yuppies in southern Arlington and bought 12 acres right across the street and built 20 houses in a neighborhood called Talksmont. It was the first subdivision down here. When my grandparents came here, my grandmother said she used to get the milk by milkman and, you know, get live chickens, but all of this area looked very open like this. There was no houses down here, right? Fairfax County had 40,000 people back then. And when I was born, my parents moved back into Talksmont in 1976. I lived in Holland Hall originally when I was born. But, you know, I've been very connected to this place. You know, it's right down the street from me. I walk my dog by here probably 3 times a week. When my wife and I decided to get married, we went and looked at Gunston Hall, and she's like, yeah, I think we get married here. And then I said, there's one more place I want to show you. We came here. She said, nope, we're doing it here. She went out and saw this view, saw this property, and my wife was adamant this is where we're getting married. And so in 1999, we set our 22nd wedding anniversary 2 days ago. It was actually just almost like this, a little bit warmer. But you know, when I heard the news that this property might be sold, and I thought, you know, I might be bringing my grandparents, my grandchildren back, and saying, hey, you know, your grandma and I got married under that guy's garage right here. I was like, that doesn't work for me. You know, this property is incredibly important to our community. And my grandmother, I mentioned a minute ago, you know, my grandmother spent like 4 or 5, 6 hours a day in her yard, messing around her yard, and she taught me to do that in my yard. I have boxwoods in my yard that came from my grandfather's home place in Franklin County, right? These plants connect us to the past, they connect us to nature. This property connects us to our past. There's you already heard just a fraction of the history associated with this property right here, but there's lots more you haven't even heard about yet, right? And as I also own a National Register property in New York myself, and the importance of historic preservation, open space preservation, etc., was huge to me. And so when I heard this was happening, I knew we had to do something. And you know, within 2 weeks, we had 3,000 people in this community who had signed a petition demanding this property be preserved. And that, you know, I'll put out something for something really important, like, you know, Route 1 or whatever. I'll get back maybe 400 or 500 comments, not 3,000. So, you know, 3,000 to me just said a lot about how deeply this community is connected to this property and how deeply they felt about it, right? And so that was why it was so important that we stand up and fight. And everybody stood up and fought. You know, obviously we had Governor Northam wrote a letter, Attorney General Herring engaged, Racine engaged. You're actually in Senator Evans' district thanks to redistricting. Hopefully that'll change soon. Even though I live across the street. Delegate Krizak, he and Senator Eben, Delegate Sickles, who's not here, the three of them secured a $2 million appropriation in our budget for this property. We're going to have to figure out how to spend that now somehow. Yeah, we'll work on that. The Virginia Land Conservation Water Fund put aside $150,000. We have to get some more money if we can figure out how to work that out. But you know, the state, I think we're ready to probably put in some more money too. We'll see how that goes. But it's been a real team effort. And you know, the second it happened, I called Supervisor Stork and talked to him about the Historic Zoning Overlay District, of which I'm very familiar with because I was on the Arlington County Historic Affairs Landmarks Review Board for a little while. Learned all about that and the power that brings to be able to dissuade development, shall we say. But I also got to meet Keister Evans, who I guess used to be my neighbor almost, and it's the first time I've seen him in person, but yeah, he knows my mother, right? But I've got to meet so many new people through this. Alan Rossum has been a huge asset in this fight, coming up with creative ideas. But you know, I mean, most importantly, I want to thank the board, because you know, I think they showed a lot of courage standing up to publicly standing up to you know, some people that were really trying to pressure them really aggressively. I mean, how much attorney's fees did they spend? I mean, like yeah, $1.2 million on Hunt and Williams to try and you know, scare you all into submission, and you all stood up to them the entire time. And you know, it takes real courage to do that, right? And you know, we all had your back, but But if you all had not stood firm, we wouldn't be here today. So I think you all deserve the heap of the praise. So. Anyways, I look forward to coming back here for some more weddings, more Mount Vernon at Home. Mount Vernon at Home has their thing here every year. Inova does some banquets here every once in a while. My father's retiring from the practice of law after 52 years this year. We're going to do his retirement party here, I think. So, yeah, we'll work on that. So, anyways, I really thank you for everything you've done. I look forward to being out here again, and when I walk my dog by, I can not stress out anymore. So, thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Supervisor Stork, you can say a few words. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Laura. And I'm going to start by thanking the Faithful Five. The Faithful Five. That's what it comes down to, folks. 5 people who said no. And a whole lot of other folks who were right there with them, including myself, obviously the chairman, Senator, community, Catherine, of course. We had so many folks, Alan, Paul, Gilbert. I mean, there's lots of folks who are really crucial to this process. The staff. I know you suffered for a year, more than a year, and I know one of them from when my kids were growing up, Nora, and my kids all grew up together. So 5 people. The first shock that we all had of this property being up for sale galvanized all of us. It truly had us, it really took us back. For those of you who may not know, about 3 or 4 years ago, I started something called the Tourism Task Force, which is to bring together all the different tourism sites in this area. And we have a lot. The second most almost anywhere in the country other than what's on the mall. You have obviously Mount Vernon Estate, Grist Mill, Woodlawn. We have the Gunston Hall, Workhouse Arts Center, the National Museum of the Army. We just have lots of places here that when we work together, we connect together, we have a story to tell that people from around the country, around the world want to come and visit and be part of that. And part of it is we hadn't done that very well, but getting River Farm as part of that process and having it part of the task force, the National Park Service, and many others was really a way for us to try to work and grow and frankly create the ability to preserve and protect and ultimately provide the public access to this property. The 3 foundational elements that I've had from the beginning. And that group really has worked very, very well. Obviously, COVID set everything back on that, and we're all still dealing with that, but we are relaunching those efforts. But the Faithful Five were the crucial element of this. My first experience with some of the leadership of the AHS board was not a very pleasant one at all. It was a video call, and my core question to them is, what are you doing to protect, preserve, and make sure that public access for this gorgeous place will continue? And the word that I got back was, we hope. We hope that we can find the right buyer. We hope that we can maybe work something out. We hope that somehow or other that, that we will be able to do that. It wasn't that we expect or we guarantee or we commit, or it wasn't anything that you or I or any of us who look at this property today and say, this should never be in doubt. This view, this sense of this place should never be in doubt. That was not what came out of their mouths and came out of their conversation with me. And that continued. My challenge to them right then and there was, there's no trust, folks. There's no trust. When you talk about hope, we talk about 50 years, we talk about decades, we talk about centuries of this property, and you're talking about hope. So I knew as an elected official, and I know all of us knew as elected officials, that we really were relying on the board itself to figure out and hold firm, and the Faithful Five did just that. And over the course of the year, and Laura knows, particularly in others, I had lots of concerns because It only took one catastrophic event. Tim, you and I talked many times. It only took one catastrophic event to change that formula, and frankly, the perseverance, the effort, the energy, really the fact that we had a single-minded focus on this property remaining as it was intended when it was purchased and the donation was given, and remaining as the centuries that it's been here should show that it has to be. So no is a good word. No is a good word. In this case, it made the difference. And I want to thank Christine, Warren. Christine, where'd you go? Oh. Christine, she was on many of those calls. She's my chief of staff. On many of those calls, talked to many of you and was key and essential to this process. But I'm here to do one thing, and one thing in particular is to thank the Faithful Five for standing firm and making a difference for this beautiful place and for history and for protecting our access in this property. I know we have more to do. This property isn't protected yet. I'm sorry, it's not. But I know that the commitment is clear, and I'm here to finish the job with all of you, and I know that we'll do that. So again, thank you very much.
Supervisor Short, I see that Paul Gilbert is here, the chair of Nova Parks. Would you like to say a couple words? Good to see you. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you, Mark. I'm Paul Gilbert, Executive Director of Nova Parks. First of all, congratulations to the AHS Board on hiring Keith Tomlinson. So Keith has worked for Nova Parks for decades now as the head, which we are very fond of, as our garden. He retired just very recently. I say that very lightly because he's one of these people who fails at retirement. He's always engaged in doing lots of things. So you are very fortunate. Keith is amazing. He will provide leadership. Your staff, your donors, the public, everyone is going to be engaged in this place. It's going to be wonderful. So I look very forward to working with the Board of AHS on further protections on River Farm. I think that's the next big challenge. But congratulations on today. This is a wonderful moment, and I appreciate everything that you've done. Thanks, you.
Thank you. What a perfect day to be here. And it feels good to be inside the gates. We've done a lot of events outside the gates using that closed sign as a symbol of what shouldn't happen here, and it feels really good to be inside. About a year ago, I stalked around this property with Greg Meyer, our Director of Philanthropy, and felt like I was trespassing. It was still open, and yet it didn't feel like it, and I think about 3 days later it closed. But we sat out on that bench and looked out and said, how are we going to protect this place? Do we have the resources? Can we do it? And and everything just came together in an amazing way. And Northern Virginia Conservation Trust has protected, I think, 153 different properties around Northern Virginia, totaling about 8,000 acres. But you will not find one as beautiful as this. I can pretty much assure you of that. And so it's been a labor of love for our organization. But I also want to ask a number of people to stand up right now. Dan Straub is already standing, but Greg Meyer, Aaron Kershaw, Catherine Ward, Keister Evans, Paul Seifert, and Fafera, please stand up. This is your Save River Farm Committee, and for the last year, every Tuesday at 3:30, we talked, we yelled, we passionately tried to figure out how to protect River Farm, and we, let Catherine yell at us a lot. But the passion that group had to make this happen, along with an incredible political leadership here in Northern Virginia that it would not have happened without, And Paul Gilbert, thank you as well. I think you and I probably talked twice a week for the last year over how to save River Farm. It really does take a village. And so we're really pleased to be here at this day. The Save River Farm Committee is now your friends of River Farm, and we are ready to help you in any way possible make this organization great. It's what we always wanted from the beginning. I can say that just in the last couple of weeks we have had some really productive conversations about permanent protection of this property, and I'm excited to have those continue, but know that those will continue on the timeline that AHS needs them to with so much else going on. So just want to thank everyone again for your commitment to this, and we couldn't be more excited, and NBCT is going to be having some events here too. So thank you all.
All right, we're getting closer to a champagne toast, and I'd like to invite our new director, Keith Tomlinson, up to say a few closing words.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you, everybody, for coming. What a celebratory day this is, in every sense. A term strikes me as I was driving here this morning, and I coined it civic courage. And I really want to emphasize that faithful five as well. That there's a degree of civic courage that took place in the 5 board members that are here with us today, which frankly I think will probably end up in textbooks someday. Maybe in a public administration curriculum, maybe in how to manage nonprofits. This may very well be a case study. And that civic courage also extends to all of our political leaders who are here today. And I have to say to all of you, just good on you for doing the right thing. So I'm just privileged to be here today. Friends, at the end of the day, I'm an old-time naturalist. I'm a natural resource manager who's been obsessed with plants for about 40 years, both native and ornamental. I had the privilege to work for Nova Parks for a very long time with an exceptionally stellar group of folks there. And I'm just thrilled to be here. I should preface that by saying that 18 months of retirement was really nice. I did receive a phone call about a year ago from an associate who said, "Man, why aren't you involved in what's going on at River Farm?" And I said, "Well, I'm retired, and that's really, it's sort of somebody else's bailiwick." That changed about 3 weeks ago. So here we are. What I can tell you is this. I'll just bring every ounce of effort I can to focus on a couple of things. Renewal, public access, the broader understanding of horticulture and the continuum that we live in. Holly and I have talked quite a bit about ecological horticulture. Holly and I have known each other for many years. We shared some very fine coffee. We had a big international meeting in Barcelona a long time ago, and I think we agreed then, as we do now, that the conservation of open space, the understanding of the importance of conserving plant diversity, whether that be in a public garden, a private garden, a nature reserve, a national park, or a highly, highly specialized place like River Farm, is critical. So I'm just thrilled to be here today, y'all. Thank you for having me. Change is coming. It's good change, but it's only possible because of this civic courage. So today I can tell you 3 things. We'll honor the past, we'll inhabit the present, and we will chart the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Keith, and thank you all, everyone here, for coming. Now let's join in the celebration and a toast to River Farm, to all the victory, and to all of you for all your help, and to the future. Thanks so much.
A bloody successful battle. River Farm, AHS, yes, yes, yes.
For almost 100 years, the American Horticultural Society has worked to increase knowledge among American gardeners, garden enthusiasts, and professional horticulturists, inspired their passion for plants and the natural world, and encouraged responsible stewardship of the earth. For more information about this press conference, the American Horticultural Society, or Historic River Farm, please contact the AHS Communications Department at 703-768-5700, extension 138. To join AHS, please visit our website at ahsgardening.org. That's ahsgardening.org. Thanks for watching.